becomes put a bunch of medium lasers on things and shoot them where they're vulnerable, which is in the back. So yeah. Does background make a difference in the game, or is it cosmetic? Terrain matters, as you see. Line of sight matters. Cover matters, so in trees or whatnot. Loose terrain matters too. It makes your stability modifiers different. In addition, the place you choose to fight, the map you choose to fight on, will have heat modifiers. So that is a heat neutral map. You can fight on a heat negative or a heat positive map, which means that your systems are going to be different for that. All right, but we haven't touched, I haven't really messed with this lance yet. This lance isn't optimized. I like the machine guns. Machine guns crit components. Critting components wipes out weapon systems. I'm fine with that, although the lasers do the small lasers do slightly more damage. But this group has nothing for dealing with kiting. I mean, we're fast, that's something, but it's not really all that something. We don't have nothing to do with kiting. We have 2 lights as opposed to a light and a medium. I don't really know that I want 2 grasshoppers here. I mean, they're good and they do a shit ton of damage. But I'm not using the stability stuff, and I think stability is probably, after raw damage, I think stability might be the most interesting mechanic in multiplayer. So, how do pilots work for multiplayer? You get to pick from a set of predetermined pilots who have different abilities, and that's certainly something we should. If you look on this one, I think I just took evasion on everybody. Is the plan on that? So when I'm jumping around, I get maximum number of evasive pips. Yeah. All right. So I just wanted to give you guys an example of the other way, because like we were trying that kiting setup last time with the autocannons that didn't work at all. We might try something similar with LRMs, or something that lets me do stability damage. I really like the idea of messing around with stability, because you guys saw probably in that first match as well, if you can knock one of your opponent's mechs down at a reasonable time in the turn order, that mech is screwed. Also, do you guys see how well this worked for us? Like where our damage took? Like this grasshopper took back damage, 60 damage there, 40 damage there, 30 damage there, and then it took front damage. It took like 20 there, 70 there, 75 there, 80 there, another, is it not going to show me that? It does show me that, another 100 there. Like, this is ideal for us, and I think it's a huge change from the campaign, because in the campaign you have precision shot that comes up fairly regularly, and you have vigilance, which comes up fairly regularly, because you're getting a lot of morale from killing stuff, and you get morale modifiers going into that, and you have things like half off morale abilities on your characters. You don't get any of that in multiplayer. The only time you're going to get aimed shots is if you got fucked in the first bit, because when your Fury, you can only do it when your Fury reaches 100, and Fury is based on the damage you take, not the damage you do, which means that you're mostly shooting at the opponent blindly, and that means it's kind of interesting for multiplayer. It means that armor facing becomes super insanely important. Most of the time, unless you get very unlucky, people are going to spread their damage just like this, and that it's really inefficient to shoot guys who are guarded or in cover and who have armor everywhere, because you're just pinging off bits of armor for each of your actions. So to me, what that suggests is that 2 things are going to be useful. Flanking, like I did with this group, where I get behind them and I shoot their back armor. The back armor is nice for 2 reasons. It's nice because A, there's only 3 locations I can hit. It's either back left torso, back right torso, or center torso, which means then instead of spreading it to, like, what is it, 7 locations? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, not counting the head. Instead of spreading it to 7 locations, I only have to spread it to 3, which means it's more efficient anyways. Back armor is weaker, which is more efficient. And then, what's the last part of this? There's one more part to this that I was going to say. Oh, right, so jumping behind them like that. And the other one that seems to be potentially useful is stability. If I can knock them down, then I get free targeted shots. I think I have it, Dan Wolf. Is that this one here? Talking about that one. Anyway, so let's go do some theory crafting. You think something like 2 times grasshoppers with 2 times panthers with LRMs? That's interesting, Oblizo. Like we could modify the script. Shit. I mean, the goal, I think, to having this, especially if I'm going to be playing with chat, where chat gets to mess around, gets to watch me build my lances, is that what I really need is like a good set of options, like 4 or 5 different options, or at least preferably at least 4 or 5 options to bring so that I can change them last minute, so chat might understand what each of them individually do, but doesn't get to counterpick me directly on what lance I'm playing. But we could modify the Grasshopper lance. I think that'd be fun. I played against JJ Spam yet. Well, I've never seen a match that doesn't have everybody have jump jets on everything, so I don't know what JJ Spam means to you here. I've been kited by Centurions. I beat a lance with that lance. The lance I just played, I had a match where my enemy was running one, God, I don't even remember. I think it was a heavy, maybe an Orion, and 3 like Centurions. And the Centurions were set up with an LRM 5 or AC5 and an LRM maybe 15 each, and he just hopped backwards, hitting me with LRMs. I had a king. Oh, it wasn't the Grasshopper lance. It was a different lance. I had a king crab in that one, and he killed my king crab by death from aboveing it 4 times and killing the pilot with knockdowns. I won the match, but it was kind of a brawling. It was kind of a knockdown, drag out fight for me as he tried to kite me. So, all right, but we're gonna do some theory crafting and music, intense music in early games. Or no, I don't want to quit the game. So. So we could take a look at, because I would agree. I would say that the light mechs I have there were not terribly exciting in terms of what they were doing for the team. God, this music. Okay. How do I get to an option screen? Like, this is way too much. Don't game developers know that people have hangovers in the morning and loud fucking music is not what we want? Easy. Easy. Yeah. It's better. It's better already. I like your light mechs to be generous. Ah. Host from Shen? Well, thanks for the host, Shen. Doesn't tell me it's an auto host. Seems weird that Shen would be finishing a stream at 9:48 a.m. But cheers, welcome to the channel, guys. I don't think very much of Flamers in this matchup. You saw his Flamer mech. His Flamer mech closed to melee. Made one of my guys spend a turn fortifying instead of shooting. And then died. That isn't terribly exciting to me. The other thing is that you can ignore heat for a large part in the multiplayer matches, because the light structure damage generally is fine, as long as the heat isn't shutting you down. So like that match I was describing where I was chasing jump jetting Centurions with long range weapons across the map, all of his things were in like red heat the entire time. Like he didn't have shit for heat dissipation. And he just would jump jet anyways and continue shooting anyways. And he'd take heat damage every round, but so what? Yeah, I mean, I suppose that would be also the other thing. That would be, if I got really into it, it would be design all my, give myself 5 or 6 different options. And then it would be also have some low heat, high heat variants. Although that feels a little bit cheesy, because probably most players are not going to have low heat, high heat variants for like moon stuff. So if I just select like a moon map, at the last second of like a countdown and launch on a moon, and the guy's at like, 65% heat efficiency, and I brought some super heat efficient lance, it feels like a little bit like abusing the map settings to try to take advantage. And I don't know. There's a time and a place for that. Alright, so we could edit this lance. So we should at least double check the pilots at the very, very least, and we should think about what we want for that. So this is currently, the Grasshoppers are kind of fine in my opinion. It's armor and jump jets and heat sinks. They're not particularly exciting. I mean, I guess the MGs could be light lasers, but I actually feel like MGs are better than lasers. So I'm kind of fine with the Grasshopper setup. I think Bulwark is nearly useless in multiplayer. It's just nearly useless. So I don't really care about the Bulwark part. I do care about the evasive movement. And I do care about the gunnery skills somewhat, but as you get very close, it's not quite as relevant. It's always equal, Hoopa. There's no leveling in this game in multiplayer. there is something that might be appealing to me, which is a higher initiative grasshopper driver rather, which would be so the way the pilots work out is they have every combination of skills there, some of which are doubled, for example, and I don't know if it's doubled deliberately or doubled just because they switch it. For example, you notice that Witness and Showboat have the same set of skills here. They have evasive and sensor lock, and then there's one pilot for each of the masteries. So there's one master tactician pilot, there's one ace driver pilot, there's one breaching shot pilot, and there's one whatever the fucking last one is, juggernaut pilot. And most of the characters have 4 HP, but some of them have 3 HP, and you gotta be careful with that. The ones who are specialized, like Paradise, only has 3 HP. And where's the other Master Tactician one? That should be, I don't remember the symbol. Should be, it's not that, it's not that. Where's my Master Tactician? That one? Okay. So yeah, so Arclight, despite going very fast, only has 3 HP, which isn't such a big deal if you're in like a light, because you're probably dead before you run out of HP, but 3 HP is really fragile. They can get any sort of knockdowns on your character, it's fucked. So I don't know. Certainly the idea of my heavies moving at medium speed is great, but Arclight also doesn't have evasion pips when she's jumping, and jumping is a pretty big deal in terms of evasion, so. I've tried some of XPVP games. Don't know what that means. Alright, so this was a real simple setup. This was basically grab all the evasive pips I could. Paradise has evasive pips with, what's Ace Pilot? Move after shooting if it's not moved yet. That wouldn't be terrible for one of the lights, but I like having the sensor sweep on the lights. Yeah. Yeah, I think these pilots are actually fine. So I could be talked into changing the Firestarter and Commando around. I particularly don't like the Commando. It's much slower than a light mech has any right to be, and I don't understand why. It says it's the same speed, but I don't remember that actually being true. Maybe it's because I had 3 jump jets on it to begin with, and I modified it to have 6. But these guys are just designed to tank some fire and do a little bit of damage. We could try to make them LRM based, but I bet you lights are gonna have a really hard time running around with any LRMs. So let's go look. Okay, so that means we need to edit some mechs. Let's go look at, and I mean, really, we don't have to run Firestarter plus Commando. And I don't actually know. I guess I could look at that Battletech sheet there and see what we're looking at for actually armor. Does it say that somewhere? Hard points, DFA, walking speed. Oh, so there are different speeds on these mechs. The Locust is 210, Commando is 165, Spider's 210, Urban Mech's 75. Maybe that's what it was. I had an Urban Mech and I was totally depressed by how slow it was. Firestarter's 165, Jenner's 195, and Panther's 120. Okay. What's their available tonnage? 3 tons. You can get 21 tons on the Urban Mech. I see that's why people like that then, I guess. The Firestarter can pick up 16 tons. And still be relatively fast. That's interesting. I don't know if it's worth having missiles on them, but maybe. Good morning, Kitchen. All right. So where is the Firestarter? It's here, right? So I tried that, and that was terrible. That was jump jets and flamers, and it was god awful. Let's edit this guy. Strip equipment. Let's pretend I went with the we want missiles set up. What can we actually put in there? Do we have a missile? First of all, does he have a missile mount? No. Well, that makes that easy. All right, let's back out of that. Which of these specs have a missile hardpoint? Panther's got 1. Jenner has 2. Commando has 3. Locust has 4. So we're going to have to use 4. But let's look at the Commando, I guess. Since Commando had decent speed. Is this the missile hardpoint one? That's 1. This is... Wait, what? Am I reading the wrong thing? No, it's this guy. Okay. Would I like a rematch after I'm done making stuff? Sure, kids. All right. If I strip equipment, what can I actually get? What's the heat on these? 6. So it would be heat efficient. Have to get some jump jets on there. They fit so many fucking jump jets. Alright. So before ammo and before armor, or a ton over. And that would be doing 10. It's only doing 15 stab damage, or 30 stab damage too. I do like the idea of a mixed I like the idea of a mixed weapon system. So that is the problem, isn't it? All right, I need my spreadsheet, so let's get that up too. Because what I really want is, is the damage per tons. Let's just do it pure Theorycraft damage per tons, which we're looking at what? SRM 4s, SRM 6s, SRM 4s, and medium lasers. And then stab damage. Machine guns do really good damage per ton. Small lasers do really good damage per ton. So, alright, let's back out of that. Oh, thanks, Lisa. I might have to check that out. So this lance could probably be edited. This lance currently was me playing around with the King Crab, because King Crab has fucking AC-20s, and AC-20s are a riot. So this was a tanked out AC-20 Crab. Although I probably don't need those machine guns on it. With a Hunchback, also with an AC-20. Although I don't think I would run that. Maybe I could make it like a light laser Hunchback, and then 2 lights over here. We don't have to run 4 mechs, but I do think 4 mechs is probably slightly better than 3, even with the heavier stuff. This might have been the one where I had that close fight with. I think it might have been. I don't know, chat. So I'm not feeling particularly inspired. So we have our Grasshopper close range kind of murder group, and I think that's decent. I've seen a 4 times Hunchback group. It was 4 times Hunchbacks, all medium laser variants. I don't know if they had jump jets or not, but they did a fuck ton of damage. That could be amusing. could try something like this and run around with the AC-20s. AC-20s are questionable in this. If they hit, great, but it's can be a pain in the ass to get them in range to actually hit, and people don't want to come brawl your crab. They spend a lot of time figuring out ways not to shoot all your crab's armor. I had thought about that at one point too, like just like maybe there isn't a lot of point in having much more front armor than you have back armor, the way these work out. It's not quite true versus the long range setups. But anyways. And I think these were melee setup. Like that one. Not feeling inspired. I mean, I'm not against an AC-20 on a light. I mean, you could do that with the Ace Pilot. I mean, you're not gonna have any fucking accuracy is the huge problem with this. But you could walk in and out. Where is the Ace Pilot, by the way? Is it this guy? Yeah, he's got gunnery skill of 2 and gut skill of 3. So you're gonna get double recoil penalty and massive gunnery penalty, which sucks because that would actually be useful as on a light with an autocannon. You could reserve down, end of the turn, you walk in with the light, take your shot, beginning of the next turn, you take your shot and walk away. Which would be great. But with no fucking gunnery skills and no gut skills, how do you do that? I don't think you can. I don't know if it's, I mean, we can run like, so someone's talking about the Banshee. The Banshee is apparently a better King Crab. I don't know if I buy that. I mean, what does the King Crab do? King Crab brings double AC 20, so that's what the King Crab does. And I'm not sure the Banshee matters. Yeah, 8 laser points and 6 support weapon hard points means if it closes on you, it probably kills you. I've never built anything on this boat. It looks like it'd be fun. Alright, let's do the Banshee's a worse grasshopper. It has a bigger loadout, weighs more. Probably can't bring 2 of them. Alright, let's pull up a new lance. Banshee's bad. Doesn't look bad from its slot layout. So, what do we have that we'd like to run? So we have our grasshoppers. The grasshopper one is fun for me. I guess I need to start taking notes. All right, let me grab pen and paper. So, all right, the grasshoppers. The cons of that setup are the lights aren't great, aren't super helpful, and it's probably a more efficient loadout that doesn't use 2 grasshoppers. So that's the first one. Give me a second to give finger stretches. The King Crab loadout, I found they just kite the crab forever. The crab does okay, but isn't amazing with that. Do finger stretches. Give me a couple seconds. I'm looking forward to this injury being gone. It is actually improving though with this latest round of things he's got me doing, so I'm pleased about that. Get a much tighter curl than I could a couple weeks ago now. It's alright, well, I'll watch you guys watching me staring at the screen right now as I stretch the finger. So, I think you can get probably 4 medium mechs in. Might be amusing. Medium mechs are pretty mobile. I kind of like that idea. Let's try like the 4 hunchback stuff. I think that seemed like a fairly reasonable idea. I can rip off somebody else and see if I like it. So, I guess that means we need to modify. First of all, how can I get, there's no way I can get 4 of these in a 25 million. Yeah, I can. So what does that actually work out to be? It's not even 25. We still have more on that. We could do Shadowhawks, and I feel like Shadowhawks are like better hunchbacks a lot of the time. Wolverines are pretty good too. So what is the actual variant of the hunchback with all the fucking lasers? Not you. Not you. You. Oh, these are 6 million. A little bit more expensive. I see. So that's 24.36 million there. Let's go modify some hunchbacks. Take a look at that build. And try doing the hunchback setup. I thought that was amusing when I fought it. I'm not super keen on... It's the single AC-20 hunchback. This is the one we want to copy. I never actually got one of these in my single player campaign. I never picked up one of these laser hunchbacks. Anyone like lasers? So we need to max that armor out. And use jump jets. They can use small jump jets? At 50 tons? Wow. I guess there aren't medium jump jets, but still. Alright, 1, 2, not sold on the small laser. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 basic heat sinks. So we're looking at 39 heat resistance there with another 30 off the core is 69. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Still very heat positive on these. Yeah, this looks like a fairly dangerous mech setup. I don't know where we're gonna get weight off this because we need weight. This is. We still have 3 support slots too. That's funny. You don't have to shoot with everything. You're not really looking for sustained damage, I suspect. So if I pulled 4 heat sinks, what does our armor get up to? Pretty much maxed. Gives us the jump jets I want. I don't know. I don't know that I care about that small laser. I mean, they're super efficient damage-wise. What if we drop some medium lasers and planned on like point-blank brawling with them? I mean, this is the most efficient damage weapon in the game. The small laser for weight to damage. Missing 2 medium lasers there. Have to be missing 2 medium lasers though. Armor that up a little bit more. Maybe fit another heatsink on there if we wanted. Can we get the rest of the armor up? Alright, that's 50 of 50 tons right there. It does everything I want except cooldown. Guess there's no reason not to move those to there. So it runs 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 heat sinks. It's 27, so we're looking at 57 heat evented per round. It generates 60 most of the time. We gave up 2 of our medium lasers for this. I mean, this is like the epitome of the medium laser brawl boat, right? Do I value those small lasers? Yeah, kind of do. All right, let's try this. This is with 6 of those, it's 150, and then this is 60 on top of that. So this is 210. It's got jump jets. It runs very hot, really hot, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 heat sinks. We already said it was 27, so its vent's 57. How much does it actually generate? 6 is 60. Hypothetically, it's hot 3, but it's not, because we're not counting small lasers. We're counting small lasers in the damage and not counting small lasers in the heat buildup, which isn't really fair. If I want to run the the lasers as well, they're 15 around, so it's like hot 18. But anyways, go up a bit. Can't see my left arm components. Problem is I don't remember where on the combat screen stuff is. Does it block the combat screen? So I could, for example, grab this. Where is it? Just a second. Could go over here. Shit, left the daily goal. But I'm pretty sure this blocks stuff later. Remind me again. I don't think this will work long term, but if we're spending a lot of time on this, I'm fine with that. Yeah. Anyways, so can run this. You think heatsink is better than 2 small lasers? No. No. Do you want to make arguments about medium lasers versus heatsinks? You could probably make that. I mean, the whole point of this being on a medium chassis is that it's faster, right? So, how is the Hunchback's movement? Hunchback movement. Let's take a look. Which one is the movement column? Walk speed 120. It's not particularly fast. How does that compare to the Grasshopper? It's the same speed as the Grasshopper.